Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the Polyhedral Elite. All right. So, what are the Polyhedral Elite? The Polyhedral Elite are engaged dungeon masters and dragon masters. Now, what does engaged mean? Well, it means all in, right? People who are playing Dungeons and Dragons at a very serious level and really take Dungeons and Dragons seriously. There's many Dungeons and Dragons channels out there. I was just this morning. I was listening to a guy. He said, "Hey," he did a short, and he's like, "Hey, I'm getting ready for my Dungeons and Dragons game tonight. I rented a studio. Not a joke. Not even the only person doing it. Matthew Mercer's already built a studio to play Dungeons and Dragons in. This guy's, there are dungeon masters who are renting studios for their Dungeons and Dragons campaign for each session, right? There are dragon masters who are being, could you imagine, like somebody like, "Hey, you ready for Dungeons and Dragons tonight? I'll see you at the studio." Like cameras all over, right? Like thousands of dollars in minis, thousands of dollars in dice. What are you gonna rent a tux? Like people are taking Dungeons and Dragons extremely seriously. So let's talk about the Polyhedral Elite. All right. So the Polyhedral Elite are engaged dungeon masters, engaged dragon masters. When I say dragon master, I mean Dungeons and Dragons player, right? So the core, the most core Dungeons and Dragons physical table, and also the most core physical table is one dungeon master and 5 players, 5 dragon masters, right? So I'm talking about engaged dungeon masters and engaged dragon masters, okay? Now, why do we need to refer to the Polyhedral Elite? Well, here we are. We've fully arrived. I'm going to say it. The Polyhedral Elite, the engaged dungeon masters, the engaged dragon masters are the most important human beings on planet Earth. Period. End of sentence. We are more important than scientists. We are more important than clergy. We are more important than philosophers, right? We are the most important people on the planet. Now, I want to be very careful here, right? Because I am using the word elite, right? Does that mean we're better than other people? No. It doesn't mean that we're better than other people. It doesn't mean we have more value than other people. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be treated equally to other people. But it does mean that that there is more riding on what we do than there's more riding on what we do than anyone else on the planet. And the reason why is the Polyhedral Elite are the only people that can fix today's world. Period. End of sentence. Because, and you're like, whoa, wait, you're saying that people who play Dungeons and Dragons are the only people who can fix real problems anymore? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Right? There's like, and the reason why we just came through crisis after crisis after crisis. And everybody was like, oh, yeah, just like we expected. Government did nothing. Scientists did nothing. Clergy did nothing. The philosophers did nothing. All these essential, people that were supposed to be so essential. What did they do? What did they do? Right? Like, and I think, and that's the issue, right? And you're like, well, wait. Well, let's talk about essential workers, right? Like, there's nurses and there's, there's semi-truck drivers. Aren't they the most important people? Are we like clapping for them as heroes, right? And the issue is, it's not that these people aren't great anymore. It's two things. It's expectation and institutional collapse, right? They are connected to institutions, and those institutions are not trusted by anyone anymore, right? Truck driver with a cool hat and a heavy foot, man, you're going to get the stuff there, should be important, but they're not, because they're connected to some international organization that if you just spin the bottle and land on some person, you'll say, hey, why is the corporation that employs that truck driver, why is that corporation evil? And they'll give you a list. They'll give you just a long list. Right? And they're like, oh, that nurse, man, she really helped. She really, brought the ice chips and like got the medication right. Isn't she good? Well, the problem is she connected to big pharma, connected to big pharma, connected to the medical, to the medical institutions. And you know what? They overcharge, and they have rackets that they're playing. And they'll just tell you, right? So and this is the thing, right? These institutions that you're connected to, there are massive expectations. Everybody's like, you're supposed to fix this world. And those corporations are like, hey, man, we got $1 to make. We ain't going to fix nothing, right? We're going to make our billionaires more billion, and you're going to suffer, right? Like, and everybody's like, oh, and this is every institution now, even the churches, right? And you're like, with the exception of very few churches, yeah, it's true. They're all evil. They're all just going for another buck. But then when you come to the Dungeon Master and the Dragon Master, you're like, what are you guys going to do first? And they're like, nothing. We're not going to fix the world. And everybody's like, of course not. You're just sitting over there playing Dungeons and Dragons. You're not going to fix the world, right? Or are you? Wait a second. In 1974, Gary Gygax was telling the whole world, was addressing the deepest LGBTQ question. And saying, yeah, you're a man, but you're going to play a woman. In 1974. Decades before this was taken seriously, right? And he brought LGBTQ liberty right there, right? And in 1983, he was like, of course, white people play with black people, and no matter what your color skin is, all that matters is the narrative, right? Diana the Acrobat and Hank the Ranger, right? And then, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And right now, you check every single day of Dungeons and Dragons history on Twitter, and you'll find a hyper prejudiced hate monger saying, "Hey, we really despise the love, the harmony, the joy that Dungeons and Dragons is bringing." And then what you really realize is what the Polyhedral Elite is it is a very carefully crafted core, CORPS, of the most creative, most confident, most intelligent people in the world who can fix the world because no one expects them to. And they can come in at an angle, right? They can come in at an angle that's not expected, a remove. It's really fascinating, right? And I want to explore this in depth. So I really want to thank you for letting me introduce you to the concept of the Polyhedral Elite. I'm going to be talking about this pretty in depth going forward. And I just wanted to thank you for giving me a chance to share it with you. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing. Have a fetch millennium.